Hi, and welcome to my garage. Picked up this, I call her Lucy. We all have to name things, right? This is a Bandshell, the original Bandshell, 1970 or 71, depending on when it was built. USC1. So I got this Bandshell. It wasn't working, obviously. That's why we'll sell them, is because they have them for so long. This one I picked up, so I was trying to get it working. So of course I look it over and try and figure out what's wrong, and I don't know if you can see, but this is the motor coupling right here, and see that it's basically broken in half. It's severed in the middle, so I need to replace that. So that's what I'm gonna do. First thing I did though is that I've been cleaning as I go on this thing. This was somewhat filthy, and you can kind of see it looks pretty clean right now for the most part. That's because I just used a lot of dollar store cotton swabs and some degreaser and a little elbow grease, and just meticulously have been trying to clean this without dumping a whole bunch of chemicals on it. But anyway, yeah, it is. Actually, it used to be about as dirty as this one here. I don't know if you can see all the goo and the gunk all over this one, and how dirty the carriage is on it. But anyway, they will work when they're dirty. They just don't like it very much. So I'm going to replace the motor coupling on this one, and I thought I would just kind of video it as I go a little bit here. So first, of course, I read about it, and just a word of warning here, I ordered the CD off of eBay for the service manual. It ended up coming from Canada, I guess, so that's how I get around the copyright thing. Anyway, it came, but it came 28 days later, so if you're in any kind of a hurry, don't order that one. So I got this one because that one just wasn't coming in the mail. And I like this better because you can flip from one page to the next. So let's say I'm in here and I'm in the mechanism section. I'm looking at things on here, but I want to know how it works rather than trying to scroll through a computer somewhere. I can just quickly flip and look at, this is the next section of the book, which is the parts catalog, which you wouldn't really think about as being interesting to you, but it gives all the parts and it shows how they fit. So right here is your motor coupling. So I can look in here real quick and I can see just basically how it works, how it's held in, what's around it. To me, that was helpful, but nowhere in this manual did it tell me how to replace it. Hence, I needed to go to the expert. Oh, there it is. There's my Ron Rich's Seeburg mechanism guide, and I found it helpful to highlight things that are important to me. And I've got this little note that says motor coupling, and here it says the correct installation of the motor mech coupling is covered in the lubrication of the mech section of the book, which I also found was on page 30. So I went back to page 30 and I read that section and figured, oh, by the way, a little sidebar here, when he talks about SPS and FC and STD series model mechs, I don't know what those are, so I went ahead on the side and wrote down what years they were, so I can kind of get an idea as he's talking in his book what years he's talking about. But anyway, so I went in here and I looked and I found the trick, the secrets to doing it. And of course I needed a new mech, so if you can see from here, this is Mr. Rich has mailed me one, and it came in the mail yesterday. So I was kind of excited about that. And of course, since he's got a book, he doesn't provide any instructions in there. What you get is a new motor coupling. If I can do this one-handed. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the motor coupling has these set screws, Allen wrench type, 4 of them, 2 on each side. And so when your wife asks you why you have all these little tools that you don't need, it's because in times like this, you will actually need this 1 1/16 size Allen wrench. But I also found that it's a lot easier for me if I put it on one of these little heads, and so I found that this size head, which they call an H2, is also it. So I'm going to use those. And of course the other thing you need is a 1/4 inch nut driver. That's probably the most handy thing you can ever have on a Seeburg. Alright, so that's what I've got. And what I'm going to do with these little things, since you're asking, is I'm going to replace that piece. Wow, and this one is nice and, I don't know if you see it, but that's flexible. Obviously they get old and nasty and broken, and so that takes up, I'm guessing, the torque, a little bit of torque when it first starts up. So there's 2 screws holding this piece in right here. This is the top one there, and then the bottom one here has a screw on this side and a screw on that side, which again, I never use the screwdriver. I always use the 1/4 nut driver for that. And I also am going to need to take off this piece right here, this bracket here, which is held on with one there, and this one is right here. So I'll take this off first, and then taking those 4 off should basically free up the motor from its mount. The motor has these 4 wires, a green, a blue, a yellow, and a red, and someone has very nicely tied them off here. So I'm going to unbend that, and so it'll free this up a bit. The green wire, as I wiggle it over here, I find that it's this green wire here that runs up to this contact here. So I've got a little bit of slack in that one. And then the other 3 wires, the red, yellow, blue, they are right here, and they're tied here, and they go down to this set of contacts down here. So I have enough play, I think, that if and when I take this loose, if I set it like on some jam some paper towels underneath, that I should be able just to take it down loose and just let it sit there, and that'll give me enough room to be able to put the new motor coupling on without having to do a lot of extra work. Because I really don't want to do anything I don't have to do with this right now. I just want to see if that problem can be easily fixed. But while I am in there, just as a sidebar, it'll be a lot easier for me to go in and clean these contacts right here for this switch, and that's off the bottom of your clutch, and that switch does need to be kept clean, and what a good time to clean. So while I'm there, I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm in here, I've got my Puretonics Extra Strength Contact Cleaner, which is restores electrical continuity, removes oil, grease, grime, evaporates quickly, no residue, safe on metal and plastic, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to use that, and I've learned that one of the easiest things to do is just to spray it on a title strip, and then just gently rub the title strips in there, and that will actually clean it quite well. Since these are, I don't really care for these artists, they came in one of the jukeboxes. Wham Bam Shang-a-Lang. No, I don't think that's my music. Anyway, I'm going to do that, and the other thing while I'm here is I'm going to do some little extra lubricating. Back up in here, there is a gear that goes into the clutch. That's a shaft for the clutch. So while I'm here and I'm going to have the motor out, it'll be a lot easier for me to get in there with a toothbrush and some oil. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil, because I really don't want to do a lot of degreasing at this point. I just want to keep it lubricated, because when I do my whole mech cleaning, I'll do the degreasing. So I'm just going to take some oil, put it on a toothbrush or on a cotton swab, and really just try and get it up into all those little spots and try and get any kind of goo that's off of it. So that's what I am going to do. I hope you found this helpful to you. And oh, by the way, the reason why this is sitting here, normally you would have it go all the way down to the end and have it stop so that you've got a lot easier place to play. Simply because that's where it was playing a record when that motor coupling broke. Alright, so there you have it, and I hope this has been helpful.